Hello, paperweight. Um, right now it is 8:22 p.m. on. I always mess up with this. Um, Friday, May 16th. So I've been gone. 3 nights, 4 days, and I forgot. I low key forgot until last minute, like usual. Um, and this is making me completely go back on what I said literally just a few months ago um about cave diving. No, I'm not supporting that. Um okay, let me backtrack. Yes, I support cave diving. Um with family, kids in caves that you might take a wrong turn without a tour guide. That I'm not too sure of. But anyways. So we went to Pennsylvania. Me and some friends went to Pennsylvania, and had a little fun time. And I'll get into details later, but we went to a rock climbing place. I forgot the name, but we went to a rock climbing place. Um, and it was fun. Not rock climbing. I really don't know the name. Um, yeah, I'll remember it the more I talk. Um, but we went to this place where we can crawl into the rocks, into the caves. Obviously, we had a tour guide. They knew what they were doing. It was very fun. Um, but I kind of wanted to break it down a little more. So, before anybody jumps to any conclusions, no, that wasn't exactly something I was prepared for. I didn't find out we were doing that until very last, until we were basically at the place. Um, and even then, we basically went there, and there was a test crawl where it was basically in the shape of a six. Um, and it was a test crawl to see how well you would do in those type of situations, which was really tight. But there was a blue rope that you had to follow. You had to army crawl, and it wasn't really anything that once you go in you can't go back. It was if you want to turn back, you had somewhat enough room to back up if you needed to. But anyways, so we go through the test climb, and it's all fun and games. I was very skeptical to even do that. I waited until everyone got through before I even thought about going, mainly because I did not want to be stuck in a rock. So when everybody came back through, that's when I decided to go. And yeah, it was fun. It was easy, and that was the tightest passage that we were going to climb through the entire time. And it was the whole thing was 30 minutes most, and it wasn't 30 minutes of climbing. It was 10 minutes max of crawling and doing challenges and fun games and stuff, and then was the rest of it was just touring the place and looking around. But anywho, so we finish the trial, and everybody walks into this room where it plays a song. I forgot by who, but it plays a song with the matching lights, and it's really beautiful. And then, blah, blah, blah. Oh my god, hold up. I'm just looking at something. I wonder what this is for. Huh. Okay, so I just like low key found a tag on my floor, and I don't really know like what it's for. So I'm just gonna, take it off to see. Um, okay, so I like really do not know like what this is for. So, I'll be right back when I figure it out. Okay, I'm back. So, yeah, tag was nothing. Anyway, so, um, lost my train of thought. Oh, the whole experience was very reluctant. Like, I literally just stood at the sidelines the entire time and was like, well, okay, because like I I was just very reluctant to do it, just like knowing that you could get stuck. And in this situation and that place exactly, that was not the case. Everywhere you went, there was an option to back out if you really wanted to. But anyways, we kind of walked through, saw the lights. I think I went over that. And we came to our first and only real cave thing. So it was like we were already in a cave, but it was like in a cave, um, and like there was a bunch of rocks down below us. There was like a hole where you could climb through. You were supposed to climb down, put one foot on a rock below, and then you were just able to stand up on the rock that was like below that one. So I put my foot down, and my foot gets stuck. Like I put my foot down and I go to take it out so I can lower myself down to the second rock that I could stand on. That was like the floor, the quote unquote floor. And then my leg was stuck and I was wearing boots. This was like and it wasn't, and at first I was like, "Oh, maybe my boot is caught on something." But no, it was like my kneecap was caught on something. My shoe was not the issue, for once, because I'd be tripping over those shoes. Actually, no, I don't trip over those shoes. I trip over there's like a pair of pants I wear that's like a lot longer, like more cuffed, and I always trip over it. But anywho, um so my leg gets stuck, and that was kind of my first sign that I should maybe back out. But there was already somebody above me that was coming in, so I was like, oh, maybe not. So I get down. I was able to pull my leg out, and I get down. Ooh, okay, it's still recording. So I get down, and I'm good. I made it. So the tour guide basically walks us deeper into the cave. It was big enough for us. Like at first we didn't have to army crawl, but we really had to crouch. I hit my head a couple times, but we were wearing helmets, so I was good. But you had to army crawl, not really. Actually no. Ugh. You did not have to army crawl. You did have to do a lot of ducking though. And the worst part about it was raining a lot, and luckily we weren't outside, so we were good. But like uh, near the entrance of the cave, like it was really wet, and that maybe because there was like a not a waterfall, but there was a little river near the front of it that like slowly filled up, so it never like went below 6 inches, is what the girl said, and it never really got higher than the floor that we were on. Um, So yeah, but I don't know. I really don't know. So anyways, we're crawling through and we get to this huge open space. The girl's talking to us about how there's markings on the ceiling because people went down there um with like they how people used to go down with torches, and like they were able to like make drawings on the ceiling, and there was so much sand that they had to be crawling. So yeah. they like they like had to be crawling, and the sun was kind of just not so, oh my god, I'm just talking right now and I'm trying so hard to go off memory, but it's so hard to go like based off memory, um like when I'm trying to think of it. But anywho, so basically, um yeah, people were just able to write on the ceiling with the flames. Why? I knew last night, but I could not make this episode last night. So yeah, in your face. I'm just kidding. Um no, but it was actually very interesting and you should definitely look it up. But basically, after that, um I'm saying a lot and I'm really not liking that. But anyways, um and here we go. I said it again. Okay. So I'm trying to get back to I'm trying to get back to where I left off. So basically, and I'm saying basically too much. Okay. I'm just saying a lot of stuff too much. Last time. So basically, we get to this room and the lady starts talking to us about how they the cave was a lot bigger than how it looked, but it was filled up with sand. I don't remember why it was filled up with sand, but it was like a natural type filled up with sand. But anyways, it was filled up with sand, and over time people were able to dig it out. um so it revealed more passageways that people could go into, and it's still not fully digged out. Like if they kept digging out the rest of the sand, then a lot more rooms would open up and reveal itself. But like that's not their main priority at the time, I think, because they would have done it. They would have done it. Even though it would probably be insanely expensive to do it. But anywho, so okay. So we're walking through blah blah blah, the sands, blah blah blah. And there was a part where there was like natural clay forming. Um and I was like, wow, okay, clay, yay. And I accidentally touched the wall and my hands got very dirty. So yeah. But what I'm talking about is day 2. We went on Tuesday and this is not day 2. I don't know. I don't know what day it was. I don't feel like doing that right now. I don't feel like doing that math. But I believe it was Thursday. No, not Thursday. It was Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday that we went. And we'll go over my whole trip because why not? Why not? But anywho, so they get to a room and the lady's like, okay, I have a challenge for you. Follow the right wall and go all the way till there's a dead end. And when you get there, turn off your lights and follow the right wall all the way back. And of course, I was in the front, which I knew would be a big mistake, but I did it either way. I had a watch with me, and it would turn on every so often because it has like raised to wake, and it turned on, and boom. It didn't ruin anything, but I was like not too ecstatic about it. Because I was walking, and but anywho, so like I was walking through and of course I was in the front for some reason, and it goes like it curves a little bit, so we're walking over the curve and then I go to step my foot down and it's like this deep pit. um so basically the left side of the floor, it was like more hollowed out kind of, so it was more of a crevice than anything. and it was a very steep, like if I put my foot all the way down I probably would have started tucking and rumbling, but I had to scooch all the way over to the I'm trying to think because my hand was on the right wall. So no, I had to move. It was on the right. Yeah, it was on the right side, that little crevice, and I had to move all the way to the left side, but still keep my hand on the right side. And then the worst part about it was clay, so I just had to keep doing it because there was two paths. If I went in one path, it would have led into a whole bunch of different like rooms. According to the girl, that was like a mess, and there was still not caves, obviously caves, but like there was still rocks and stuff in it that haven't been cleared out. But anywho, so uh, we walk through. We make it to the end. There was lots of screaming. We sung the anthem. The For some reason we sang the anthem. It was just, I don't know why. I really don't know why. I think it was just to cover up the screams probably, but it was a fun time, and we got back, and then after that it was the tour of everything else, which I'm not gonna bore you with. Trust me. Um, So, yeah, that was. I'm trying to think because we did something else. I don't know if we did something else after it. So we went to there. No. So I did this a little bit out of order because I wanted this whole experience to be out of like cave diving, and I really wanted that to be my first story. So I did this a little bit out of order, and I apologize for that. So we're just gonna skip to Thursday, which is our technically our last night there, where we did whitewater rafting, and the place we stayed was called Benner's Meadow. Shout out to Benner's Meadow. Fun place indeed. We were in the yurts, and it was actually really nice. Um, if I can find pictures, best believe I will be putting them up. So it starts off like 8 in the morning, and we had to pull out to go whitewater rafting in, I think, Ohio. Well, we were already in Ohio Pile, but oh, and by the way, when I hear people say only in Ohio, I am now believing that like that they have to be talking about only in Ohio Pile. Because no matter what stuff went down in Ohio Pile, it was nothing compared to the stuff that went down in Ohio. So yeah, just a quick note. Yeah. But anywho, we got to the whitewater rafting, and we minded our business, and it was raining the last 2 days. It was raining, and it was raining really bad basically all night. The lake water was brown and funky. Yay. Um but yeah, the lake water was brown because, yeah, and basically our tour guide for the whitewater rafting was like, yeah, so if you fall out, don't try to stand up, since we don't really know what's in the water because it's not necessarily clear, and there might be snakes in it, but snakes would rather live in the calmer water instead of the rapids, which basically the rapids were the whole thing. And I did whitewater rafting last year. Let me just tell you, in advance, it was very anticlimactic this year. Insanely anticlimactic. Um, and we'll get into that later. Like we will literally finish off the story with that. But anywho, so we get on the raft, and the very first thing we get on is a rapid, and it takes us downstream. There was barely any rocks, but there, like, literally, just to call this story short, because it was, compared to last year's, um it was like very very short, barely any rocks, lot of water, lots of splashing water for some reason. What am I saying? For some reason, we're in white water, we're in the rapids. Of course there's going to be splashing, but there was lots of splashing, lots of screaming, but it was very different compared to last year. Not to like over exaggerate, but we were supposed to go for some context, we were supposed to go on the one from last year, but it rained so bad that it became even more unsafe than it already was. So we ended up having to go on a different one, and the different one was not really as good. But anywho, uh, so basically, I'm so tired of me saying basically. But anywho, I'm so tired of me saying anywho too. But yeah, okay, that's a better word. Yeah. So I've just been checking if it's still recording because after the last episode's review of Young Sheldon, I really could not, like, that upset me so bad. But anywho, okay, so so tired of saying but that's just my thinking. But anyways, I'm so tired of saying anyways. Stop saying anyways and anywho. Okay, so I'm still gonna say it anyways. Literally just said it. Um, but last year, prime example of how scary last year was. When it came to rafting, we were going down the river, and our tour guide basically went, "Hey, yeah, avoid all the dangers. Like, don't look at all the danger signs that if you keep going, you will die. We will be okay." Which there was at least three or four different, like, warning signs until the last one that was, like, guaranteeing your demise if you went down. But yeah, we went down it either way. Cause, like, well, we were basically halfway done with it by that point. By the time the signs started showing up, we were basically halfway done with it. But anywho, perfect example. Last year, the our tour guide, um, he was taking us down the river, and we came across this rock. He looked at us, not looked at us, he was facing us, but he was like, "Okay, you guys see that rock with all the water splashing around it?" And we were like, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay, so we cannot get close to it because if we get too close to it, we can be sucked in and drowned to death." I'm just gonna be quiet so that could sink in for a minute. Um, And then this year, the most we got was the boat spinning in a circle, um, and water splashing, which I feel was why it was so anticlimactic. Because it was drastically different. First experience last year from whitewater rafting was like blood, sweat, tears, crying, screaming, begging for life, not really doing any of that, maybe crying a little bit, but like this year was just like this year was so chill. I was literally singing Dark Red on the boat. Um like it was literally so chill that I was just sitting there the whole time and was just humming to myself, and it was like, well, such a lovely stroll down the park. And I just it was so drastically different, and it was different in like a unexplainable way. Like, I'm explaining it to you now, but like you really had to be there to understand the difference between this year and last year. And I mean, I get it. It was even more like dangerous than it was last year because of all the rain, but dang it. I loved it. I loved the one last year more than the one this year. And the vibe, like everybody who didn't go last year, but was going this year, which was way more people, was like, were like, they were, we were talking it up to them. We were like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be so scary. It's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so fun." And then I just felt so bad because it was like, "Wow, we just hyped this up, and then this is the end result." Like, I mean, I get like it's the weather and it's like uncontrollable, but I swear, if I were the one paying and that were to happen, I'm literally like asking for a refund at that point. because that was so underwhelmingly different from last year, and the whole experience was different too. Um, but yeah, after rafting, we went to get pizza at Paddler's Pizza in Ohio Pile. If you know the name Paddler's Pizza, then you're probably gonna hear about the raft place because I don't remember the name of the place. But anywho, so yeah, and then we're going back to day one. Still out of order. So it was the first day there. It was Tuesday. No, it was when? No, it was the second day. What? Oh, I talked to y'all about Wednesday and Thursday. So then it was Wednesday. Okay, so we did more in Wednesday than I thought we did. On Tuesday when we showed up, we really didn't do anything. But on Wednesday, there was more on Wednesday. Okay, so on Wednesday we also went to a cave. Like after I think I'm trying to remember. Um, we were told about the waterfall, but we were not told about the caving. But anyways, we basically went to a waterfall before we went to the caving place, and the waterfall was really nice. We had the chance to go behind it. It was like you had to walk uphill and then downhill. Like that's how it was to get to behind the waterfall. You had to walk uphill and then downhill. And then there was a bunch of rocks like halfway that you had to climb on top, and then there was a little tree branch that went all the way from like in the water to above, like right next to the waterfall, leading to the ledge behind it. And we had to climb all the way up there, all the way up there. And it was very slippery, it was very slick, it was very muddy too. I've never gotten that muddy ever before. But you know, that's okay. So yeah, we went there. We did that. We went to the waterfall. It was very fun. We also did a 2.5 mile hike. One person suggested that, and everybody hated it. Yeah, that hike was not fun. Everybody was hungry and thirsty. Um, so yeah, I'd say that hike was not the best idea because also we got lost halfway through the hike. Yeah, we did the hike, walked through the forest. We followed the trail, and then because the water was so high, we had to go in a different area. And that different area was so different that literally we got lost halfway through and started walking randomly. We found our way out, but yeah. Um, so that was my whole experience in Ohio Pile, and as it was good, it was also quite disappointing, and there was a lot going on. Will I say it was the funnest trip in the world? No. Will I say that it was a little bit underwhelming? Yes. Will I say that it was a fun opportunity and not a lot of people get to go there for the type of things that we went there for? Yes. It was a good opportunity. We did a lot of things, like a lot of things that most people would not think of doing in their lifetime. Like, I've never heard anybody go, hey, yeah, let's go whitewater rafting, um, in their lifetime, just for fun. But, like, that's what we did. And it was really nice to have that opportunity for a second time. And like, everything about it was nice. The yurts were nice. Um, the yurts were nice. The rafting was, it was okay. The food was nice. Everything was nice. But was it the same exact experience? No. And that's what I had to come out here with. That's the lesson I learned. That's the lesson that I also learned within myself. Compared to last year, me as a person tied not tied, dialed down a lot. And I've noticed the world around me has also done that too. Um, Including my experiences. And that is the case. That is like the exact case. in this very situation. I feel like for most people, the rafting trip was exciting. But because we didn't have the same near death experience we did last year as the daredevil I was, let me shut up and backtrack. Because we didn't have the same experience that we did last year, including me, with the type of person I was, I didn't like it. And it was nothing over that the trip wasn't fun. It was just about there's change. And sometimes change comes hard. It really does. Um, like spending 3 nights and 4 days away from home. Like waiting for one day that came and was not so great. But that's life. That's life. That's all I gotta say. That's just life. And I mean, you can't change anything about that. I do know. If I ever go back, I'm choosing to go back at a time of year that's less, less. Anywho, oh, going back if I go back, I'm going back at a time that's less rainy. Yes, 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 yes. Last episode, I just remembered last episode. I said I was coming with a message, not a message. Last year, okay. Last video, I said that I would be coming back. Not coming back. Last video, I basically said that, hey, at the end, I have a message. And, did that message ever get answered? No.